Welcome back to the Blue Door Pub Thunderdome for another Bull with Andy Carlson, Minnesota's 87th best daily podcast, son. Show about everything and nothing at the same time. Sports adjacent. That's what we're rolling with today. And remember, everyone's middle name is Jerome. No Nickerson in the building today. Trying a little bit of different format. Now, we're supposed to have a guest interview. I had to reschedule that. But we're still bringing it. We still bring it every single day, 5 days a week. Tell a friend, spread the word. iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. Oh, and the website, bullshow.co. More on that in a sec. And also like us on facebook.com/bullshow. So like I mentioned, switching up the format a little bit. Today's show is going to be a little bit shorter, a little bit more sports intensive, and also you're going to have me a little bit amped up on pre-workout because I'm getting the show in before I hit the gym on Monday, but lots of good stuff on a Tuesday. Some Tuesday talkers, as it were. So the website, some of you may notice I've gotten some tweets and some emails about it. So bullshow.co, the flagship website, it died. It crashed. It was like deuces. It was like, no mas. And it's a WordPress site, and we use GoDaddy as hosting, and I did not envision spending the bulk of my Monday morning on the phone with tech support, so that was fun. And apparently long story short, it's gone, right? It was gone. We didn't have the backup, blah, 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 which is fine because it's a relatively newish site, and I still have all the the WordPress themes and the photos and stuff, so I can just throw it all back on there. Pain in the ass is the old posts are gone. So I'm deciding if I want to repost those or just like, we'll be fine. Like, if you want to listen to the old shows, you just get them on iTunes. I think that's what I'm leaning towards. And other than that, I mean, I can put up some tweaks that I've been meaning to do on the website. It'll be fine. It'll all be good. So Tuesday, 2 for Tuesday. Hopefully you're on the website now. A couple of tweaks, fresh coat of paint here and there, and it's looking good. Yeah, I kind of like it. Also, speaking of websites, bullshow.co/Amazon. Take you right to the Amazon homepage, bookmark it. Every time you buy something, use that link, and we'll get a couple nickels in our pocket, and we'll keep on rocking in the free world. So I mentioned no Nick Asun in studio today. A little bit shorter show. We'll be chalking out some sports, talking some sports all day. I know sports sound drop, which is weird. And look, I know I've got some comments that the show is a little bit more pop culture and nonsense based, and we'll still have that. I understand we're starting to mix in a little bit more sports, but it's kind of difficult being the off season for football, even though the combine's going on and free agency is coming up. So there will be an integration. There will be a lot more sports coming down the pipeline, but yeah. I'm sure I'll talk a little bit about NBA as it hits towards the finals, NHL, especially if the Wild stay relevant, and then baseball season where the Twins will try not to lose 100 games again. So we'll see. But let's get into some of these sports talkers.
I've seen teams suck before, but they were the suckiest bunch of sucks that ever sucked.
Chad Greenway, he does not suck. And we check in now live with our Facebook Live crew. What's up, Facebook? How we doing? Like us on Facebook.com/bullshow, and you get all these little goodies during the day and evening as we're piecing together the show. So Chad Greenway retires after 11 years with the Vikings, and it's a little bittersweet. Like the Adrian being let go, it's more of a we knew it was happening. Like, we knew this had to happen, and with Chad, I feel more. I do feel more melancholy because, like we said, we tried to separate off the field and on the field stuff. Even though with guys like Adrian, guys like Joe Mixon, it's very difficult. But with Chad, it's the complete opposite field. Chad is nothing but a class act, and the way that he gives back to the community with his Lead the Way Foundation and Chad's lockers at the hospital, it's been very well documented. And he was very well receiving of the NFLPA's Byron Whizzer White Award in 2015, and there's a reason why he was frequently up there as a finalist for the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award. And if he would have got his last year, I think that would have been a nice little send-off. A Super Bowl trophy aside, having a nice little ring, being Walter Payton Man of the Year. There you go. And see, that's the great thing about Chad, though. We've had him on Purple for the Win before, and we talked to him a bunch at like training camp and whatnot. That's his personality. That's really him, and it does slightly annoy me when athletes put on this huge charitable PR persona, surely for public relations value. Like I understand it's the same result, especially for the kids or the charity benefiting, but it just seems really disingenuous. Where with Chad, you can tell that's his personality. That's just how he's wired. That's how he was raised. And if he wasn't in the public eye, if he wasn't a professional football player, he would still be Chad, the farming philanthropist. That's what he would have done. And I know that Chad's been sort of the butt of jokes the past couple of years, myself included. And I do believe that Chad was a liability towards his last couple of seasons here in Minnesota, most notably the Indianapolis game, when Indianapolis schemed to be in 12 personnel to keep the Vikings in base defense. That's insane. It's insane to me. There's a reason why Tyrone Swope, Eric Swope, just kind of went off. Eric Swope, who the hell is he? Who knows? But you got to look back at his entire career. Ends his career fourth all-time with the Vikings in tackles with 1,330. Not too shabby. And like we mentioned, 11 years with the team. Was the number 17 overall pick in the 2006 NFL draft. I believe that was the Mario Williams draft. I think that's when he went number 1. Yeah. Remember, Chad tore his ACL in the preseason of his rookie year, so it basically redshirted. But still, great career. And I think he'll definitely be a Ring of Honor candidate. Yeah, on the field contributions, it's up there. It's not an elite resume, but I think just his personality and what he has done for the team off the field and will continue to do. There's some scuttlebutt that he might take a job in the front office. I think he would be a great ambassador, like in the Vikings charitable relations department. It would just be great. It would be the way to go. And you know what? If you wanted to help out Adam Zimmer as linebackers coach, be like, hey Adam, why don't you do something a little different? Shut up, Chad. Get out of here. No, but I will miss Chad Greenway. Ooh, and a little send-off. We go to the end of the road. Still I'm Chad Greenway. He is 52. He shouldn't have been middle linebacker. And put Kendricks on the weak side. And Chad in the middle. And Chad was basically Audie, Cole, and Cantrell brothers. Would have been better middle linebacker. And take him out in nickel. And he was targeted by other offenses like Eric Swope. And he can't cover, and he could still tackle. But at least he'll give back to a little charity and saving people on Lake Minnetonka. When then their boat almost flips over. Chad, to the end of the Chad. Yeah, that wasn't really planned out. Oh well. Next up, Adrian Peterson says he'd be open to taking less money to sign with the New England Patriots. Now, that's you get all these stories during free agent period, and I ignore most of them because what sports aggregators do in the sports blogosphere is that they'll see one quote from an interview, whether it be on TV or radio or even a podcast, and then they'll make up a post about that, and that gets distributed on Facebook, on Reddit, on forums, etc., and then that's accepted as hard news. Like, Adrian Peterson open to taking less from the New England Patriots. We're like, yeah, it's all speculation, it's conjecture, except some people, most people, I will say, myself included, only read the headlines and they don't get into the meat of the story. And I'm sure you go around the realm and just take an Adrian Peterson and find an article for every single team. Basically, every single team that doesn't have a premier running back out there, you'd be like, all right, so I'm going to do something. Adrian Peterson, free agency. And we'll just see what pops up on Google. We'll go to Google News, typing in Adrian Peterson, free agency. NFL rumors, latest on Adrian Peterson. ESPN predicts Adrian Peterson will move on from the Vikings. Shocker. Report, Adrian Peterson will consider Pat's friendly contract. But, you know, I mean, those are just the handful of ones from the morning. I'm sure there's one out there for the Raiders, the Bucks, the Giants, the Texans, hell, probably even the Cowboys, even though they have like zero cap space. But I do think New England would be a solid spot for Adrian, especially if he is actually bent on winning a Super Bowl ring before he goes, because I'm not convinced he does. I'm not convinced that Adrian Peterson is the kind of player that demands a ring before he retires. I think he's more concerned about his money. And to be honest, most players, even if they've made their money, even if they've been smart about their money and, you know, just let it sit in a pile, let it grow a little bit, and I still think towards the end, if they haven't won a ring, they'll say all the right things. Oh, I'm trying to win a ring. And I don't think they care that much. I'll say that 9 out of 10 players probably care more about the money than a Super Bowl ring. And that's just true. And you see the quarterbacks all the time, mainly because their legacy is tied to winning Super Bowl ring. Like, well, how come no one talks about Phillip Rivers being a great quarterback? Oh, because he's never been to the Super Bowl, he's never won a ring, etc. And the whole talk of the Brady versus Montana debate was centered on rings. And now the debate's kind of over because Tom Brady has 1 extra ring and 2 more Super Bowl appearances, by the way, but whatever. Well, actually 3, technically. You know what I mean. And it seems a little arbitrary, but you can see that quarterbacks would be a little bit more sensitive to their historical their historical remembrance with Super Bowl rings. And they'll be the ones that will be willing to take a little bit less towards the end of their career, free up some cap space. You saw that with Peyton Manning. He needed to get that second ring, so his last season he gave up a little bit of money, and Elway spread that around in free agency. And I think quarterbacks are more able to do that because, A, they're paid a lot more than the rest of the players, and B, because of that historical ties. Whereas running backs, like, no one ever talks that O.J. Simpson never made the playoffs, or that Eric Dickerson only made 1 NFC title game or 1 conference championship game. Yeah, no one ever talks about that because no one really cares about running backs, right? Like, no one thinks that Emmitt Smith is the greatest running back of all time simply because of the Super Bowl rings. No, it's because of the all-time rushing record. But say Emmitt Smith ended up like 8th on the all-time rushing list, right? Say he had a couple of injuries there towards the end of his career. Say he didn't even go to Arizona and roll back a couple thousand yards on that. We wouldn't be talking about Emmitt Smith as the greatest of all time. We'd still be talking about Dickerson and Dorsett and Walter Payton. Oh, we wouldn't be talking about it, even though he's got the most rings. And that's not how running backs are remembered, and I don't think that's how Adrian is wired. Like, even if that was the gold standard of how we remember running backs, I just really don't think that Adrian, that's all that high on his priority list. And if you look, I think it would be a scheme fit based on Belichick is very clear in the division of labor when it comes to running backs. You think of Corey Dillon, Kevin Falk, back when they had Fred Taylor for a spell, and then, of course, bring in LeGarrette Blount. They had Danny Woodhead. So he doesn't mind not having a 3-down running back. Like, during Tom Brady's time there, I guess Corey Dillon would be the closest to a 3-down running back, but he was still towards the twilight of his career anyways. He's fine having a bruising running back like a LeGarrette Blount, like a Jonas Gray, like a Corey Dillon, and then having that scat back like they got with James White and Deion Lewis right now, like they've had with Danny Woodhead and Kevin Falk previously. And it's weird because Belichick sort of defies convention. Like, they're in shotgun most of the time anyways. And when they do run the ball, they're blatantly obvious about it. Like, they won't put LeGarrette Blount in shotgun. They'll put him dotting the I in a single back, or dotting the I behind Devlin, or in a single back formation behind Brady, and just pound the ball straight up the gut. And it's you don't have to be too tricky when it's just man on man. Hey, we're going to beat you. Hey, we're going to impose our will on you. And also, hey, we can sneak out some pretty sweet play action off of this and get Gronkowski or Martellus Bennett open. So Adrian essentially replacing LeGarrette Blount, who's also an unrestricted free agent. I think that would be fine. But remember, Belichick is very price conscious, especially when it comes to aging veterans. Like, he wants cheap. He paid LeGarrette Blount $1 million last year, and Blount had a great season. And he's willing to let him walk because he doesn't want to give him a raise. Now, what does that mean for Adrian? Does he get $4 million out of the Patriots? No. Zero chance in hell. Will he go there for $2 million? I don't even know if Belichick would go $2 million. He knows he's a realist. And Belichick sort of falls victim to having crushes on players. Like, that's the main reason they brought Chad Johnson to New England, because he always loved Chad in those great battles when they played the Bengals, right? And I don't know if there's an enamoration there with Belichick and Adrian Peterson. I mean, there might be. There might be. It's never really been broached. Or when Belichick's been asked about in press conferences, they'll be like, Adrian Peterson's a great player. Just a great running back. He does some things great, and he's just a really talented running back. That's probably the extent of it. Except, would you pay double for an older, limited, coming off of injury, again, running back version of LeGarrette Blount? I don't know. I really don't know. Gophers lost to the Badgers pretty badly, snapping 8-game winning streak. Now the Big Ten tournament is coming up, and this is usually the time that I start paying a little bit of attention to basketball. Like, apparently Amir Coffey's really good. That's the only Gopher on the team I can name. And I get like 23-8. That's a pretty damn good season. And it sure as hell beats making the NIT. And, hell, maybe Richard Pitino does have something going on. But this will be the test. See if Tom Crean leaves Indiana, which, like, all Indiana basketball coaches ever since Bobby Knight are constantly on the brink of moving on. Pardon the pun of on the brink. And, hell, if Crean moves on, say he takes the Mizzou job or something, and Richie Pitino, all of a sudden, Indiana, Minnesota, because I think we knew with Pitino and also with PJ Fleck that Minnesota is a stepping stone job. It's the Phoenix airport as you're going on to your destination. It is not a end destination. It's a transit. It's a little stepping stone. It's a connecting flight. And yeah, we're okay with that to a degree. And schools like us and like smaller type schools that can't keep a big time coach, and they don't have a coach like Brad Stevens at Butler for a couple of years there. It looked like he might stay there. Looked like he might build that program up like Coach K did with Duke after he was in Army. But people forget Duke basketball was garbage before Coach K got there. But it's very rare nowadays that you'll see a coach, whether it be football or basketball, just completely build up a school and call it the way. Like if PJ Fleck had stayed at Western Michigan for 20 years, that would have been an example of that. It just doesn't happen anymore. But the way that these transition schools can take advantage of that is, hey, buddy, guess what? You're not going to be able to level up to the next school unless you do some good work here. And that also means putting in place a good coaching staff. Maybe some of them stick around. Hell. And some good recruiting classes, which, unfortunately for the kids, are going to be locked into the school. Like, they're not going to transfer and sit out a year. And also building up some recruiting ties to that school and winning. Oh, yeah, winning is going to be the number one reason why you're getting a better job. So it's unfortunate. I get it. And fan bases don't like the unloyalness. I just made up a word. Actually, I make up a lot of words, don't I? The non-loyalty of coaches building up a program, just bolting for a slightly better job. Like, I get it, but take advantage of that. Embrace your role as the connecting flight. Like, Phoenix doesn't care. Atlanta doesn't care. Just connect and move up a little bit, and then eventually, maybe you will become one of those destination schools as well. But Gophers making the tournament, and it should be interesting. I've seen them pegged anywhere from a 5 to a 7 seed, and do we expect them to make a lot of noise? Not really. But, hell, if they win a game or two, maybe sneak into the Sweet 16, it's still a pretty damn good year. Speaking of pretty damn good, Lyft, bullshow.co/Lyft, $15 off your first couple of rides. I'm using Lyft on Friday, and I'll get to the reason why at the end of the show. Because, paying for parking, pain in the ass, fighting traffic. No, don't do that. Get a ride with Lyft, bullshow.co/Lyft, LYFT. Download the app today. We'll be right back with more Bull with Andy Carlson. And coming back into the Blue Door Pub Thunderdome, changing things up on a Tuesday, different format, a little bit shorter, a little bit more sports intensive, and Andy is on pre-workout. Maybe I should do that for every show. Just bringing it. See, the key with the pre-workout, rectally. Yeah, we'll go with that. NFL Combine going on right now. Someone who ain't at the Combine, Joe Mixon. And, all right, so everyone knows about Joe Mixon. Punched the girl at Oklahoma 2 years ago. And, well, 3 years ago, whatever. Mercurial running back from Oklahoma. Now, the kid's talented. There's no doubt about that. And his talent is the only reason why he's getting the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh chances. And he does have a history at Oklahoma that says, hey, if you can't piece together that this guy has anger issues and maybe is a bit of a scumbag, then you have issues yourself. But you're trying to connect the dots, and if Joe Mixon was a seventh-string jabroni running back / fullback, Bob Stoops wouldn't have spent his time. Like, Bob Stoops wouldn't have had him sit out a year, come back to the team, welcome him with open arms, and be like, Joe Mixon's earned his way back on the team. No, it wouldn't quite be that way. He would be made an example of. It's like, we here at the University of Oklahoma do not condone the actions of Joe, seventh-string running back Mixon. But he's got talent, so here we are. So this is reality on reality's terms. A lot like how Tyreek Hill was still a fifth-round pick last year, and the Chiefs took some heat because of Tyreek Hill's domestic violence incident where he choked and punched his pregnant girlfriend. Then you see how he performed. And you even heard in Arrowhead Stadium when Tyreek Hill was returning punts and scoring touchdowns, they were chanting Tyreek, Tyreek, Tyreek. And then also last week, the official NFL Twitter account just tweeted out happy birthday. Happy, nice. Nothing happened. Nothing to see here because talent is the ultimate eraser. If you have talent, it will erase a lot of baggage. And unfortunately, Mixon has it. And if he was completely clean off the field, he would probably be a late first-round, second-round pick. He would be in that mix. He still might be. Hell, he still might be. And you heard the Detroit Lions GM Bob Quinn talk glowingly about Joe Mixon, how it's unfair that he wasn't at the Combine. And I think Joe Mixon is going to go in the second round. I really do. Because the kid is obviously talented. He's got the three-down talent that a lot of teams covet in a running back nowadays. I feel like the Patriots are sort of running against the grain, but I digress. And Mixon could go somewhere if the GM is very desperate or is untouchable. And now I understand that sort of covers the gamut, but guys that are hanging on the edge for a job, like a McCagnon with the Jets, like a I probably should have more names. Anyways, or you could be a Bill Belichick, where you have absolutely, you're infallible. Like if Belichick picked Mixon, he could hide him from the media and would shut down any questions about him. And we've seen that fan base is pretty durable. You know, like they're Belichick and Brady disciples, and I honestly feel like Belichick and Brady could both murder like a hobo in like Beacon Hill area. Yeah, and they'd be like, screw it. It's Belichick, it's Brady. Come on, what do you want from him? Yeah, and I've talked about that Mixon can end up with the Chiefs. Like, they moved on from Jamal Charles. Yes, they have Spencer Ware. Yes, they have Sharkandrick West, except Mixon's better than both of them. And we've seen that Kansas City fans sort of softened once they seen that the guy had talent in Tyreek Hill last year. And Mixon obviously has skills. Andy Reid has taken on bad eggs before, a la Michael Vick in 2009. And also, we talked about, the Chiefs' territory is heavy Sooner fans. And you've seen that Sooner fans re-embrace Joe Mixon. I could easily see Chiefs fans doing it as well. I'm calling it right now. Mixon to the Chiefs in the second round. And they opened up the combine this year to fans, and sort of mixed reviews. Like, it looks kind of sad. Like, some of the fan perches, they just kind of roll in the bleacher seating, and some scouts, some NFL executives were sort of perturbed that fans were barking at players. Well, not barking, but yelling at players, doing the bench press and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like they haven't been to the gym or their own weight room. Like, guys bark at guys benching all the time. It's just a thing that happens. And if I'm a fan and I'm watching guys do drills in their underpants, yeah, I'm going to say a couple things. Yeah. I'm paying some hard-earned money to go watch guys prance around or sprint in a straight line in their underwear. Yeah, I'm going to do some things. But, of course, this is the NFL just making a nickel wherever they can. Someone who really impressed was pretty much a lock for be the first overall pick. Anyway, Myles Garrett, defensive end from Texas A&M. Now, here's the insane things about Garrett. And this is per NFL research. Myles Garrett is taller than Julio Jones, 6'4.5", to Julio being 6'2 3/4. Heavier than Rob Gronkowski, 272 to 264. Faster than quicker than Devonta Freeman. He's got a better 10-yard split. And faster than Jarvis Landry, slot receiver for the Dolphins. Myles Garrett ran a 4.64 40. Landry ran a 4.77. So you got a guy who's 6'4.5", 272 pounds, and can run a 40 in 4.64 seconds. Insane. And the Browns are still contemplating, do we take Mitch Trubisky number one? No. Like, I get that the Browns are into Moneyball and trying to be smarter than everyone in the room. Don't overthink this pick. Take Myles Garrett. He's better than Julius Peppers. He's way better than Mario Williams. He's J.J. Watt-esque. Make the pick and secure a cornerstone of your defense for the decade. Just do it. And I get it. You'll be fielding bids for the pick, and maybe you'll trade down, get extra second, third, and fourth in 2018, and da. But no, I don't think fans, even though Trubisky's a native son of Cleveland, I don't think fans are completely sold on any quarterback in this draft. Like, this is not Luck RG3. This isn't even Goff and Wentz, which people are still kind of meh on them, and they won't want to. This isn't even close to Winston Mariota, right? So just take Garrett number one overall. Stop messing around. Take whichever quarterback is there at 12. Or hell, wait. This isn't a great quarterback class anyways. Just go all in next year and take Darnold or Chosen Rosen or the Allen kid from Wyoming. Just go all in then. Yeah, that makes sense, right? But you know they'll screw up. Oh, Lord, how the Browns will screw up. Mike Lennon, speaking of screw-ups, has gone 5-13 in his career. Has 30 touchdowns, 15 picks, and an 84.3 career quarterback rating. And most notably, James Winston's backup in Tampa. Good hit free agency. And could command $14 to $15 million in free agency per Yahoo's Charles Robinson. Now, I get that the quarterback position is very scarce. And we all remember Brock Osweiler's contract last year. And the thing is, Tampa let him go for free. Like, they didn't try to trade him last year because he's in that weird spot where he's better than your average backup, but he is not ready to be a starter. He's not good enough to be a starter. Like, he's in that Matt Castle, Matt Moore, Chad Henne type strata. Yeah, that's where Mike Glennon is. That's where like E.J. Henderson, not E.J. Henderson, but yeah, E.J. Henderson too. E.J. Manuel, yeah, that type of level. And you're really going to give him $14 to $15 million for agency? That's how bad this quarterback draft class is. Like, their teams would be more willing to throw a bunch of money at a guy who's proven that he's and also looks like a 6'8" Napoleon Dynamite than take a 4th-round flyer on one of these kids, which is insane. Although I would take Pat Mahomes just for the watchability factor. But it's like teams have learned nothing from the Brock Osweiler ordeal. Oh, yeah, Brock Osweiler, who led the Texans to the playoffs even though he got benched, and then won a playoff game because he got benched. It's just, it's ridiculous. Baseball's coming, don't you worry. Now, I haven't been keeping up too much with the Grapefruit League or whatever league, the spring training. Nah, whatever. But I did see that the Twins lost 19-0 in their home opener. Yeah. The best thing about it is that the Twins Twitter account stopped tweeting after they're down 12-0. They're just like, yeah, all right, pack it in. No, it's hilarious. But, yeah, the Twins only won 59 games last year. And I'm a little bit more optimistic with Falvey and Levine in there. Different decision makers. Terry Ryan probably should have gone multiple years ago. But here's the problem that we have in sports, Minnesota sports, is that we're too we get too friendly. We like good people too much. And Terry Ryan was obviously a great person. We love him too much. He overstayed his welcome. That happens. That doesn't happen with the Yankees. That doesn't happen with the Red Sox. That doesn't happen with the Dodgers or the Cubs or the Cardinals. Well, maybe to the Cardinals with a degree. But yeah, with them, it's the fan base has so much pressure on the team to win, or they just turn their back. And yeah, we have tried to turn our backs, but where else is there to have a good beer outside? During the summer. Oh, yeah, every patio bar. Yeah, who knew? And last but not least, going back to the combine. So John Ross, wide receiver from Washington, ran a 4.22 40-yard dash at the combine, beating Chris Johnson's 2008 record of 4.24. Now, a lot of hubbub had been made about Adidas's giveaway. They're going to give away an island, one of 4 islands, and I've looked at the pictures, just sort of like small pissant islands, but still an island. They're actually more of an isthmus, but with like kind of a ditch. Like a ditch isthmus. Yeah, it's those kind of islands. And they would have given away if the participant was wearing Adidas shoes, except John Ross was sticking with Nike. And he mentioned why he didn't try for the island. He said he can't swim, he doesn't have a boat. Yeah, that's just a great answer. And he signed a deal with Nike, so he'll be fine. And also, this is great promotion for Nike. It's like, Nike, they'll still wear us even though they're giving away free real estate. Just do it. Yeah. But John Ross. Running really fast in a straight line. That's cool. Like, some consider him in the top 3-ish receivers. I still like Corey Davis and Mike Williams head and shoulders above Ross, but we'll see. You know, speed does kill, and he does have some more ancillary skills. He's not a straight-up Darius Hayward, Bayer, Troy Williamson. He's got a little bit more going on. And, someone mock this of John Ross to Pittsburgh, because you never know what you're going to get with, I already forgot his name. Dum Dum. The one who always gets suspended. You know, the tall one. Or Martavis Bryant. There you go. You got Antonio Brown, stud. And then you got Le'Veon Bell, stud. And then just put a guy who runs a 4.22 just out there. It's like, YOLO. It'll be a better Darius Hayward Bay. Speaking of him, in Pittsburgh. I kind of like the Steelers. That's sports. Yeah. All right, so going to the Warriors-Wolves game on Friday with a handful of Vikings bloggers, Lindsey Young, Arif Hassan, Eric Thompson, Yinka Ayinde, and Daniel House, the man himself. It's going to be a good time getting down there with Lyft and, just kind of hanging out. All right, so last minute, but we threw together this episode of Bull. And hey, if you like the format of the complete YOLO all sports style, thanks producer Allie for making me not sound so stupid today. But for me, I'm Andy Carlson saying Ann Young, sayonara, and bye-bye. We'll talk to you Wednesday.
Thanks for listening to Bull with Andy Carlson, Minnesota's 87th best daily podcast. Download the show on iTunes. Everyone's middle name is Jerome.